Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to this meeting. It won't be too long. I will just go through kind of some information you need to know now. We are about a little under a month out from nationals now, so it's actually coming up much sooner than you might think. And yeah, so let's get started. So here's the agenda for today's meeting. We're going to go over the nationals timeline, nationals overview, the costs, dress code, competitive events, state versus nationals, Texas TSA merch orders, and then some next steps that you guys need to focus on as we approach the national conference. So here's a brief overview of how we're going to be doing this nationals thing over the summer. So today is the 19th of May. So it's the first national qualifiers meeting. So that's just us right here. And then we're going to have two other national qualifier meetings over the summer. So in 2 weeks from now, on June the 2nd, we're going to have our second national qualifiers meeting. And then on the 16th, we're going to have our final pre-nationals meeting. And so all these meetings will be every other Thursday through Zoom at 5 o'clock. So just like right now. And then I just put CST because I know some people are going to be on vacation. And then meeting recordings will be shared. So I'm recording this one. I'm going to record every single one, upload them to YouTube. So then people will be able to access them if you can't make it. Obviously, since all of our schedules will be different, we're going to be on vacation, during camps, whatever you have going on. You do not need to make the live session at all. If you just watch the recording that I post, that would be completely fine. You just need to either attend that live session or watch the recording and then fill out the corresponding attendance form on that presentation by the following Monday. And the reason why I put it on the following Monday is just that you have time to watch it, but then I also can make sure that everyone has gotten all that information. And then I don't have to follow up with people individually, making sure that they know everything that's going on. And then, of course, the Nationals Conference would be from June 26th through June 30th. That's a Sunday through a Thursday. So here's a brief overview about nationals. The actual convention, the actual competitions will be taking place at the Gaylord Texan Convention Center in Grapevine, Texas. And I know they call it like Dallas, and like on all the promotional things, they call it Dallas. Grapevine is just like a little part of the Dallas-Fort Worth general area. So that's just if there's any confusion with that. The hotel location is still being confirmed. We're still in the process of reserving rooms. So we are either going to be staying at the Hilton or the Gaylord Texan in that general area. Then just some logistical information. We're going to be leaving on Sunday morning on June 26th. We'll most likely be meeting around 10-11 a.m. at the Seven Lakes High School parking lot, but that's still to be confirmed. Then the conference and competitions will be from Monday the 27th through Thursday the 30th. And then we'll be returning on Thursday evening on the 30th back to Seven Lakes High School. We've confirmed transportation, so we're going to be taking a charter bus. So it'll be nice. We're not going to be squished in a school bus. And here's just a little picture of the Gaylord Texan Resort and Convention Center. I've been there. It's humongous. It's a great facility. So here's more overviews. In terms of TSA activities, there's going to be general sessions, kind of like what we've seen at state. There's going to be state delegation meetings where we meet with the Texas TSA officers and with other Texas TSA chapters. There's, of course, going to be competitions, leadership workshops by the same Kent Julian. There's going to be interest sessions with like companies and other organizations and colleges and things like that. Then some other activities kind of at state, how we had a lot of free time to play games and to explore downtown. It's going to be kind of similar to that at nationals. I'm currently planning out a trip to the Grapevine Mills Mall, to the downtown Grapevine. We may have access to a water park in Lazy River. If that's the case, then that's kind of what it looks like. There's going to be plenty of time to play video games, play board games, just chill out with all your friends. So I think it's going to be a great time. There's going to be a lot of downtime for you to hang out with everyone and for you to meet other TSA members from across the country. So I think it's going to really be a great time. Okay, so let's talk costs. So as I announced on Monday afternoon, the second payment is going to be $500, meaning that with the $500 and with the $100 deposit together, that's going to be a total nationals payment of $600. We initially told you in the information packet that we were projecting around $650, so we were able to cut down that cost a little bit. The second payment is due by tomorrow, which is Friday, May 20th, to Mr. Kirk in room 1219. So just head before school, during school, after school, whenever, just make sure you get that payment in, because if you don't get it in by tomorrow, there's going to be a late fee penalty of $50. And the reason why we put that late fee is because we had problems with people paying on time and meeting the deadline for last time. And we just don't have that time with the school year winding down. For juniors and seniors, for seniors, the last day of school is basically yesterday. For juniors, it's basically tomorrow. All you freshmen and sophomores, the last day of school is next Thursday. So we don't really have time to keep waiting and waiting and waiting for payments. We need to get them in now so we can collect them and start paying off our costs to the hotels and transportation. If you have any questions or concerns about the costs, definitely let me know right away. We're here to help you, but we need information. We need to communicate right away, because with the school year closing, with the school year ending, we don't have a lot of time left. And then this is kind of based off of our last meeting, not our last meeting. This is kind of based off of state, the competition attire. So these are all national qualifying events, obviously, because we're going to be at National TSA. So it's going to follow the competition attire for National TSA. That's the official royal blue TSA shirt, which is right here. You should own this already from state. Then there's going to be pants or skirt is going to be gray. I know a lot of people wore black pants at state. I don't know how heavily they enforce being gray versus black. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but just so you know, that's the official rules. Then shoes are going to be black dress shoes worn with black or dark blue socks. And then these are the acceptable and unacceptable things. You can read that yourself. If you don't already have an official TSA shirt, that's totally fine. You can purchase one for $33 from the official TSA store. So that's this right here. And then that's just this thing right here. And then let me get back to this. And then just make sure to check the sizing chart because they run large. If you don't already have a shirt because you didn't go to state and then you're going to nationals, you can let us know, and then we'll see if we can get a shirt from another member who's not going to nationals. So if you want to borrow a shirt from the club, just mark that down on the attendance form at the end of this meeting, and then we'll try to communicate with some other people to help you get your shirt. The only thing is, if you're going to be buying a shirt, you should really do it pretty soon, because there's going to be an increased demand over this time period because everyone's getting ready for nationals. So you don't want to have any delays. Like we had some people with delays to get their shirt before state. And then very similarly to state, the dress code for general sessions is just kind of like semi-formal. So it's minimum of a polo golf shirt. You can wear the official TSA shirt if you want. Then you can just wear a dress, skirt, or pants. Same shoes as the last one. The big thing here is that similarly to state, they're going to have TSA ID badges that you need to wear for the duration of the conference. So just keep that in mind. Okay, state versus national. So nationals will be more self-contained within the resort and convention center. So if we're staying at the Gaylord Texan, we're mostly going to be staying there for the vast majority of the time, because the downtown urban area is not just like right next door like it was at state. So you can't just walk out of the convention center and go downtown. So you might not be able to leave the resort during the duration of the trip unless you're with the rest of the club, because we might have to take a shuttle to go downtown. If we stay at the other hotel, if we stay at the Hilton, if we don't get rooms at the Gaylord, then you might be able to go to the mall with some buddies, but that will be announced at a later meeting. There may be some more limited food options because we don't have downtown right next to us to walk to. And then there's also gonna be more meetings at general TSA activities at nationals than there was at state, because at state, there was a lot of downtime, a lot of free time where you weren't doing much, just hanging out, which is totally great, but there's gonna be more activities to do at nationals. Okay, competitive events. So nationals is much more competitive than state. Obviously, you're going to be competing against the best entries from every state. Texas is a pretty large state, so it's pretty competitive, but there's some other states like Florida, Pennsylvania, Virginia, which are very, very competitive and place at the top of events every year. So it's going to be tough. So you definitely should be improving any projects that you haven't already submitted and getting ready for those non-static events. Then make sure to check the tentative competitive event schedule. So you should have already seen this because we put it in the information packet, but in case you're curious, just go into that link. So anything underlined in this presentation is a link, and then just make sure you check when your events are. And I've actually checked everyone's schedules. No one should have any major time conflicts, but just keep that in mind for when your events are in terms of what time they are. Then how they do awards is they recognize the top 10 finalists for every event. They call them out to the stage. And then I think everyone gets like a finalist pin, but then they also give these gigantic trophies for the top 3 finalists. So my goal is to have at least like one of our teams become a top 3 finalist and get like this huge trophy to bring home. That would be awesome. Then another reminder is that all competitive events will strictly follow the competitive event guide. With one exception being that all testing events will now require you to bring your own computer, kind of like at state. They're not going to be written paper and pencil exams. And so I know some people were saying that the competitive event guide wasn't being, they couldn't access it from online. Here's just a link to our PDF version in the officer drive that we just shared. So just make sure to read through your event really detailed because they're going to be following exactly how that procedure goes. So for example, let's go to biotechnology design, which is page 65. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be following this to a T. So this time limits, 10 minutes, 1 minute for setup, 7 minutes for presentation, 2 minutes for questions. They're going to be following that exactly. So you really need to make sure you understand how it works so you can maximize the number of points you get. Make sure to also follow the general rules of the competitions. So that's going to be in this earlier part of the guide on page 5. So there's something really big here, but you just need to make sure that you don't get disqualified. This was mainly a big problem at regional, so it shouldn't be a problem here, but it's kind of like the violence, no names and school identifying information, things like that. And yes, and then, okay, so here's some reminders. Entries with documentation portfolios, except for the ones that were pre-submitted last Sunday, must be printed in a clear front report cover. And so what I mean by that is, here's just an example from Staples. You just have a report binder, not really a binder, but a folder, but it has the clear top. So it's just kind of a standard thing at Nationals that they like to have. There's no identifying information, like I just said. USB flash drives are required for some events, such as presentation events. They must be empty, meaning you can't have any old files, just the file that you need. Then you need to make sure you have all required components, such as toolboxes and safety glasses for forensics and tech problem solving. If there's anything that your event requires, just make sure you bring it. There might be, for example, you might need like a projector in one event. So just look to make sure that you have what you need. And then kind of like at state, all events with semifinalist interviews will have interviews for the top 12 finalists, semifinalists. So just make sure you're aware of that. And then if you also have a project where you're submitting something like a documentation portfolio, you might need your national IDs. So just click on this link right here. This is your personal member ID. And then one thing that we don't have is we don't have like team IDs, kind of like how they had it at state. So what you can do for that instead is just write that on the chapter ID of 1388 and your team number. So for example, if biotechnology design were to ask for my team ID, what I could say is chapter 1388 team 1. So right here it says like team 1. So if that's you, that's what you can do. That's a possibility. And then finally, Texas TSA merch orders. I announced this like a week or two ago. This is not a big deal. If you want it, you can get it. They have trading pins, $10 for a set of 5. If you were to get anything, I'd recommend you get those because exchanging pins with other TSA members from other states is actually a really popular activity at Nationals from what I could pick up. They have like designated times and trading things. So if you want to get something, that's my recommendation. I think that's pretty cool. Then if you want, there's a TSA Nationals, Texas TSA National shirt right here. They have a promotional pack. So if you're interested in any of that, you can just mark down your interest in the attendance form. There's a little question about that. And then, yeah, so if that's something that you're interested in, you can totally do that. Okay, and then here's the final part, closing next steps. So just remember to complete your payments. That's the $500 in check due tomorrow. If you don't want a late fee of $50 made out to SLHS TSA. This is the attendance form, and then so I can drop this in the chat right here if you want to just do it on your computer. And then if you have any questions, you can just ask us. I know that you parents or you might be confused about something. Parents, if they want to reach out to Mr. Kirk, they can reach out through his email. I honestly think the best way to direct your questions, just ask me. You can ask it in general because if you have a question, it's likely that someone else has a question too. And then, as I said, I'll be uploading a recording of this meeting. So I'm just going to drop it down right here, and then make sure to fill out this attendance form in this QR code. I just put it in the chat. That attendance form has multiple questions, kind of like, do you want to do an escape room? Do you want to order merch? Who your preferred roommate? So it's really important that you fill that out so that we can get an idea of some of the information that we need to collect. Obviously, that's mandatory, like I said, due next Monday. Now, if you guys have any other questions, just let me know or just unmute. And if you don't, you guys are free to leave. And thank you for coming by.